Learn all English sentence structures. Make talking English fun. Reward yourself. Welcome to Uncle Joseph Language Center. Tell me about people's inner world. Bet is constantly in anticipation of praise. Some of Alexandra's behaviors are not balanced. Christine has an animal phobia. Jackie believes that others envy her. William has an avoidant personality. Jeremy is a source of happiness for his social circle. Paul is too sensitive to criticism. Jonathan's fantasy world is incredibly absurd. Dora is easily discouraged. Carl is emotionally cold to his family. Eva has trouble perceiving other people's emotions. It is not possible for Bob to have feeling of guilt. Sylvia is afraid of getting old. Benny is said to be a sociopath. Julia is an expert in developing psychological tactics. Sam often experiences extreme anxiety. Alfred worries that his relatives will abandon him. Emily has some troubles that trigger depression. Andrew always tries to be the center of attraction. Linda is constantly critical of herself. Stephen cannot tolerate even the slightest criticism. Neil likes to show himself superior. Lucy has difficulty regulating his behavior. Harold has a superiority complex. Hedy is trying to avoid dealing with painful memories. Rochelle has a fear of closed spaces. Julia has a secret feeling of humiliation. Arthur doesn't realize that his obsessions are unreasonable. Orville is in fear of being unemployed. Mike perceives even the most innocent remarks as insults. Agatha has tendency to hold grudges. Shelley is too sensitive about moral principles. Pat has a hard time accepting the facts. Bert is very brave and adventurous. Peggy has made a habit of believing her own lies. Sean has an indifferent mood towards others. Arnold believes he can influence people with his thoughts. Walter finds hidden messages for himself in casual events. Annie often behaves strangely. Bella thinks someone is spying on her. Farah is drawn into her inner world at times. When confronted by failure, Patty blames other people. Donna is suffering from some disturbing obsessions. Evelyn's approach to life is not optimistic. Alex is extremely jealous. Isabel is caring, compassionate and sympathetic. Janie has an injury-related phobia. Daniel constantly criticizes others. Howard thinks not only of himself but also of others. Charles is very judgmental. Some of Gordon's thoughts are obsessive. Adrian tends to be pessimistic. Annabelle is quite sensitive and gentle. Amanda for some reason can't get over her worries. Jacob can't get the fear of death out of his mind. Charlene is very impulsive and excited. Hubert is optimistic even in the most adverse situations. It is quite difficult to understand Lee's inner world. Arnold's personality is quite complicated. Jack has been living in a fantasy world for years. Jerry is humorous and funny. Emily is deeply saddened to see others suffering. Albert is quite shy. Kathryn tries to identify herself with famous people. Gordon is immediately alarmed in difficult moments. Martin is extremely spiteful. It's impossible not to admire Kelly's tolerant approach. Meg seems to be worried lately. Ella is carrying an imaginary fear about the future. Bernard is often driven by his feelings. Elena is incredibly prejudiced against other races. Audrey is deeply intuitive and sentimental. Marcia often feels unreasonably guilty. Mike is often grumpy and suspicious. Despite his young age, Elvis is a mature man. Karen finds true happiness in helping others. Joan's dreams are short-lived. Teresa can't suppress her aggressive thoughts. Christopher is brave and determined. Ted doesn't care about the value judgments of others. Lloyd is as rational as he is sensitive. Juanetta immediately gets depressed. Like every mother, Sarah is very affectionate. Tamara is always in a benevolent mood. Frederick is always nervous and restless. Cassius looks for exciting adventures. Madeline is very humble and easygoing. Nellie is known for being honest and sincere. Gerard is extremely arrogant and rude. Herman is known for his calm and strong will. Jackie's weakest point is her hypersensitivity. Humphrey panics very quickly in difficult situations. Joey is mysterious and extraordinary. Jennifer's mood swings attract everyone's attention. Henry has an incredible imaginative power. Jacob doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Leonard's self-confidence is rather weak. Arnold sympathizes with all living things. No amount of negativity can break Rosemary's resolve. Clara is constantly in anticipation of praise. Henry takes pleasure in stealing worthless items. Paul is too sensitive to criticism. Kate is known for her perseverance. Talia has an irrational fear of darkness. Leonard is often governed by his emotions. Helen has a very rude sense of humor. Edith is obsessed with washing her hands frequently. Laura has trouble accepting herself as she is. Charlotte has a lack of self-confidence. Marlene hates unnecessary quarrels. Carol has difficulty expressing emotions. Irving doesn't react appropriately to situations. Oswald has skeptical or paranoid thoughts. Benjamin has difficulty showing empathy. Barbara is insufficient to control his emotions. Josephine is emotionally insensitive. Rachel has an astonishing egocentrism. Marilyn has never been seen getting angry. Carlos is predisposed to delinquency. Waldo's imagination is very weak. Alan often makes false suicide threats. Sharon can't understand that her phobias are irrational. It seems that Peggy has some mental problems. Olivier never shows remorse for his mistakes. Gerard has emotional ups and downs. Janet does not lose his optimism easily. There are rumors that Liz is a narcissist. David is in an emotional breakdown. Jack often engages in self-injurious behavior. Oswald suffers from frequent disappointment. Rogers has a fear of getting contaminated by germs. Sean has an indifferent mood towards others. Luciano is constantly trying to get attention. Eva has some troubles that trigger depression. Ruth has trouble controlling her impulses. Alan makes false suicide threats. Jonathan is very honest about expressing his feelings. Arthur has emotional ups and downs lately. Norman suffers from attention deficit. Eliza has an extremely calm personality. Julian is very sensitive to the moods of others. Kathryn is always in an intense anger. Sam often experiences extreme anxiety. Vincent is worried about being ridiculed. Hilary has an exaggerated sense of self-importance. Nancy is living in a fantasy world. Luciano always tries to get attention. Billy has concerns about his physical appearance. Gina can't go swimming because of her fear of water. Olivier is a benevolent person by nature. Rita expresses her anxiety by throwing a tantrum. Albert always listens to the voice of his conscience. It is not easy to guess what Ella will do. Being hypersensitive is George's biggest drawback. Cole ignores the sensitivities of others. Andrea is unable to contain her impulses. Everyone envies Audrey's composure. Deborah is incredibly patient and forgiving. Ivan gets depressed every now and then. Joan is always pessimistic about the future. Mike is usually delusional and grumpy. Martin can't take the elevator due to fear of height. Jennifer's mood swings attract everyone's attention. Juanetta immediately gets depressed. Anthony has skeptical or paranoid thoughts. William has an avoidant personality. Barbara is insufficient to control his emotions. Carlos is predisposed to delinquency. Norman needs treatment for his lack of attention. Lucy has difficulty regulating her behavior. Agatha tends to hold grudges. Charlene is very impulsive and excited. Ella is carrying an imaginary fear about the future. Bernard is often driven by his feelings. Josephine is emotionally insensitive. Rachel has an astonishing egocentrism. Winston seems to have lost his confidence. Uncle Joseph Language Center, all rights reserved.